Roddenberry at 100. Think Trek, Talk Trek, Tour Trek. Today on Trekland Tuesdays Live with me, Dr. Trek, Larry Nemecek, coming at you right here from your corner for sanity and all things Star Trek, as well as the big picture, right? Every Tuesdays right here on Trekland Tuesdays Live. Fun topic today. Maybe you don't realize it, but we've got the 100th anniversary of Gene Roddenberry's birth. I know the pandemic put a dent in the celebration and some of the planning, but everybody over at Roddenberry.com, Trevor and Rod himself, have been working on this for several months, and it's really kind of come to blossom. Hey, everybody, if you are new to us, hang on. I'm going to talk about this today from my soapbox, but then eventually we're going to talk about the, we'll look at the paired analytics, the streaming USA TV ratings, and I will get to your, it's so great to see everybody popping in now. We'll do chat in a little bit, so if you're twitching with us, I'm not talking to the Twitchers or anybody right at the beginning, okay? So hold your fire. I'll be there in just a little bit. Okay, I want to get into this because I've got some news to drop today, some news that's been a long time coming. I hope it's in enough time. But I do want to share it with you because today is not only a Trekland Tuesdays Live, it's, yeah, check your calendar. It's a Trekland third Tuesdays Live. You know what that means. Every third Tuesday of the month, we have a 24-hour flash deal. That's part of the surprise of what I'm talking about today. So with me, hang with me. Yeah, hey, it's Gene Roddenberry's 100th birthday. The centennial of anything is a big deal. And I think we're all here, the guy that's responsible. And you know what? Over the years, I mean, I think newer fans that have to figure out who Gene Roddenberry was, older fans that know full well who Gene Roddenberry was, that maybe have to look at Gene through a slightly different filter. Maybe not quite the worshipful Grand Master that we had in the 70s and the 80s and 90s, and certainly live. Maybe you're savvy about this. Maybe you're still there. And maybe you're just smart. Maybe you're a pendulum where there's been a lot of revisionism on Gene. And I'm not here, as Rod will say, as we do with the Trek Files. We're here to look at, as they say in the art world, warts and all. No one is perfect. No one is. We are all complex people. But the bottom line is, yes, lots of folks worked on Star Trek during Gene's time, much less afterwards. Many people have put in their 2 bits into what Star Trek is, as he predicted, as he said, and yet the core is something that inspires people, motivates the fans, the audience, as well as of all stripes, actors, producers, writers, directors, designers, everyone who wants to, adjacent spin-off people. Everyone who wants to bite in to the original concept. Infinite diversities, infinite combinations. The future that is going to be not only diverse and respectful and hopeful, but worth celebrating, as he'd say, worth living for. That we're not just going to blow ourselves up. We're not going to nuke ourselves. We're not going to poison our planet. We're not going to even reach out into space eventually and muck that up, because we are still we're still babies, as he would say. The human adventure is just beginning. So that's all exciting, and then yet it's not about having a year to celebrate Gene Roddenberry's 100th anniversary, to just be sycophantic and not to be, just fill in the blanks. I mean, Rod and Trevor and everybody at Roddenberry.com, I don't know if you've been catching up with this. It's been much more visible lately. But they basically have, it's kind of under the headline Think Trek. And it's a hashtag, right? You can hashtag it on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. But hashtag Think Trek is the overall moniker for the Gene Roddenberry Centennial. But under that are several aspects. They want everybody to get involved. They want all Trek fans to get involved. Talk Trek, hashtag Talk Trek, is what you've probably been seeing more and more of lately, where lots of celebrities of all different stripes attached to Star Trek are reading Gene Roddenberry quotes, just little short 10, 15-second Instagram stories, little posts on Twitter. You see them fly by. It's awesome. And you generally will get the text, just a screenshot full of text, just a little nugget from Gene that is part of the DNA of what we're all about here. It's more on the hopeful, optimistic, upbeat side of things, but hopefully guaranteed to center ourselves and remind us that if you're enjoying the 19th iteration of the franchise, that the nugget, the seed of that goes back to Gene. And that's been a lot of fun, seeing all kinds of people, all kinds of actors, people who aren't Star Trek actors, but they are celebrity Star Trek fans also reading out. So that's finally started to get ground and get some traction. I've seen more and more people talking about that. At the same time, there's also a podcast called Quoting Gene Roddenberry that's just launched, that's in tandem with those quotes, and they're being discussed, hosted by actress Rachel True and producer Trent Vanegas. That's something you might look for. That's a newest addition to the Roddenberry podcast family. It's kind of called Quoting Gene Roddenberry. You could even have your Alexa say, play the Roddenberry Daily Quote, and Alexa will tell you that. But in addition to hashtag Talk Trek, which is what the quote of the day by celebrities, just as a text piece, there's also a hashtag See Trek, SEE, as with your eye. And what the idea there is, everybody at Roddenberry wants Star Trek fans, you know how we do, when you see little things in life, fun things, obvious, not so obvious, completely accidental, when you see shapes or moments that remind you of something from Star Trek, and a lot of us will Twitter and Facebook that anyway and go, what does this remind you of? Or does anybody else see a bird of prey in this? Whatever it is, if you post those kinds of things, or if you haven't, but you might start, just hashtag it with hashtag CTrek. And you can follow along on that hash. And it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to see that. And maybe you get inspired and you jump in there too, okay? Then there's a hashtag BTrek. If you come across an article, some uplifting, inspirational story of somebody, sacrificing good of the many, somebody having an incredible idea that's actually bettering humanity, for the betterment of humanity, as we say on Live Support Live, quoting Captain Picard, we better ourselves, we devote ourselves to the betterment of humanity, right? If you see someone doing that, a story, some real news about someone actually caring about their fellows of humanity and sisterin of humanity, if you see a story, just when you retweet it or repost it, hashtag it BTrek, B-E Trek. And then finally, here's one that all fans can get into just about. Yeah, hashtag Make Trek. If you're an artist, if you're a CGist, if you love making junk art and you make little enterprises, or you do whatever it is you do on whatever scale, or you see someone else's and you love it and you want to forward it, you want to retweet it, you want to repost it on Instagram, whatever it is, hashtag it Make Trek. That's these are kind of simple little things, but it's part of spreading not just here are the facts of Gene Roddenberry's life, and here are the dates of when he created Star Trek. I mean, there's lots of us that research that and try to dig out the new and bring all of our newer fans along, because that is the DNA. We can critique Gene's actions as a writer and as a person, but the bottom line is we're all here because of the thing he started, and convince lots of other people to get gray early, to join him in that quest to make something that they just hope would get the message across. The idea that it would stick around for 50 years was not part of the equation at the beginning, right? They were just hoping for one show and a rerun. A first run and a rerun, and maybe 2 reruns was unheard of, and that's about as far as the contracts went in 1966. But here we are today, 55 years later, 55th year anniversary coming up. And again, the 100th anniversary of Gene Roddenberry. Gene was born in El Paso, but after he was 2 or 3, his father, who was an LA policeman, and himself not the most perfect person in the world, brought the family from El Paso to the less restrictive, less conservative environment of 1920s Los Angeles. And as we talk about that, and we know Gene's incredible biography, he did have an incredible biography that's very much, Army Air Forces bomber, wound up being a pilot for the old Pan Am Airlines. That was one of the first global airlines. Had an engine failure. Was the third officer on an engine on a plane crash in the desert, in the Saudi desert, and got most all of his passengers and the surviving crew to safety. Had an incredible life. Then wound up in L.A. As a motorcycle cop, and as a cop, as a speechwriter to Chief Parker, who all these people had, problematic moments, but as a speechwriter there, the uplifting part, the scientific end of new policing, even though some of us might look at history and say, where was the new policing here? There were aspects more on the forensic and scientific side, supposedly. And then, contributing as a, if you watch movies galore, much like Joe Friday, right, Jack Webb, consulting on the burgeoning TV industry in LA as a police consultant, and then getting the bug to write, which is what he'd always wanted to do, write TV scripts with his family, his wife and 3 daughters, and their growing family that grew and grew and grew, winning, doing so many of the scripts, doing a fourth of the scripts for Have Gun Will Travel, overall winning a Writers Guild Award there, and then with the dream of running his own show. Many pilots, some we have copies of, some we don't, most of them unproduced, a few produced. The Lieutenant, his series that went 1 year until he raised the ire of the military and of NBC, which led to one of the sparks behind, Star Trek, telling adult themes with science fiction where you could get away with it. So this incredible life, and then what do you do after Star Trek, and what do you do, and all that. So that's the DNA of that life is what came through all of his scripts, all of his pilots, whether they were police or medical or somewhere around the world type adventures. And that's Star Trek. So look, we get into a little bit of that on the Trek Files every week when we are in season. A lot of these things point back directly to Gene, and we talk about that with folks that have an insight. I enjoy doing that. And again, it's not glorification of Gene as some kind of guru. It's to look at the man in a rational light. And Rod Roddenberry's son is very much up for that. We are living in a time when a lot of our, heroes are being seen for the real life people they are. They're not statues. They were flesh and blood humans, good and bad. Hopefully the good outweighed the bad. Hopefully the gifts outweighed the deficits that might have been. Sometimes the broader world reaps the benefits of things those closest might give up as far as personal relationships. But at the end of the day, we look at the sum total. So we are all clear-eyed here. We're all clear-eyed here. And that's an underlying aspect, I think, of the Gene Centennial. The fact remains that we're all here in some form talking about this. I can't wait to get into the chat, guys. I can't wait to get in the chat, folks, and see what I might have stirred up. I just hope that we are we going? Are we going? All along. I really hope it. I am taking we got a later start today than normal. Not many folks on. I wonder what's going on, why we're not there. I'll check on that, but I wanted to say this today. In the middle of all these other Roddenberry events that the company has formed, I had an idea. Well, I had a reaction to a request. I know it's only on on 4 months' notice, so we'll see. But I have been motivated to jump in. Overall, the pandemic has put a dent in anything we want to do the last year, obviously. Conventions were canceled. Conventions went virtual. The cruise was canceled, right? We're all just looking forward to 2022. In so many ways, we'll see what happens with our Vegas convention this year, some of the fall convention, what happens in the spring. But this fall, 2 months Gene's actual 100th birthday in August. In October, I'm announcing today, finally, the Great Birds Origins Tour in LA. This is a special Trekland Treks. This is a 2-day, Saturday, Sunday, October 16th and 17th. Just save the date right now. I'm finally being able to confirm this and get the details. In the next week, we'll roll out the big announcement, but I wanted you all to hear about it here today first, and I wanted to be piggybacked with a discussion of what is happening. I wanted to make sure that everybody did know this. You know, a centennial is a big deal. It's not everything that lives to be 100 that anybody cares to talk about. That's certainly the case in Gene Roddenberry and his life and legacy. But this is Gene's centennial year. COVID or no COVID, we are marking it, celebrating, and reflecting again on what's going on. And my contribution here is going to be this a tour trek. Okay, we are offering. There's other. You know, you can take a Trekland Treks with me anytime, especially now that we're opening up. This is reopening day in LA. The details are coming, but it's 2 days. We've got I'm just hashing out the sites now. I'm going to have a site up within the next week, but I wanted to get this out today. We were on the road trip. Things got just in the last 24 hours. So here we go. It's the Great Birds Origin Tour LA, right? 2 days where we're retracing the life that led us to Star Trek. That's his childhood, family, the PD and the TV, and of course a big chunk at Desilu / Paramount, or we should say Desilu Gower Paramount. And hey, we will, yes, have special guest Rod Roddenberry with us for a chunk of the time. Okay? Hang on with that, because I promised you, right? I promised you before we chat in the parrots. I promised, remember it's third Tuesday? Here's the third Tuesday 24-hour special. I've been talking recently, and again, if you are Vegas bound, okay? If you're Vegas bound, we are offering, maybe for the last time, the one-day Valley of Fire tour with Geek Nation Tours. That's my friend Terrace's company. He's had me help lead this, lead it. We are going to do this the Tuesday on Con Eve, the Tuesday before Vegas Trek gets started. I still want to call it STLV. It's still Star Trek Las Vegas. There's no trademark on that. It's a licensed commodity from CBS. So the day before Vegas Trek gets going, maybe for the last time, we are offering our one-day Valley of Fire. Leaves 7 in the morning so we can get out there and get in and out of the heat and get back by 2 to the Rio. So check it out at geeknationtours.com. It's right on the front page now. It's the next tour slated. It's only a one-day. Terrace offers many, many kinds of gaming, military history, medieval history, all around the world. Just geek-themed tours. Our big Star Trek our big LA theme tour is coming next year. More about that later. But for right now, we've got the one-day tour out to Valley of Fire. Some funny Star Trek bits you will not, some interesting Star Trek bits that are not part of the official record too, as well. And lunch, your transportation. Check on that. If you're going to Vegas and you get in with us, that's going to be, I'm going to say right now, do that, and I'm giving a $50 off for our October Great Bird Origins tour in LA to mark the 100th anniversary of Gene, okay? Again, the details aren't posted yet, but I will say that right now for the next 24 hours. In fact, I'll say $75 off. $75 off one person, you, if you want to make that the LA Great Bird Origins tour in October, okay? Now, that's it. I just wanted to say this is the Think Trek Centennial for Gene has been bubbling up for the last months, and again, we've been so distracted that I think I just want to make sure that it's out there. You can go to roddenberry.com. There's a whole page specs here. But of course, if you're following at Roddenberry on all the platforms, you're going to see the daily Talk Trek quotes from all kinds of Star Trek, celebrities in and out of Star Trek. It's pretty awesome to see who wanted to jump in and help celebrate Gene's 100th anniversary. I'll just leave it to you to be surprised. And you know what? If you've missed the last month or two, you can always go back and find them. They're in storage there. Okay. And again, use some of those hashtags. If you're making Star Trek, hashtag make Trek. If you are coming across stories that are inspiring you in the best vibe of what Gene and company have inspired you through Star Trek, hashtag that be Trek. And then if you just see the fun stuff of daily life that reminds you of Star Trek, just for funsies, right? Hashtag see Trek. Yeah. And quoting Gene Roddenberry again is the new podcast. It's at iTunes and elsewhere, Apple Podcasts, I should say. They're talking and analyzing these quotes and broader context of Genes that you're seeing so many familiar faces talk about on the recordings. Okay. Hey, peeps. Yeah, and just, just as a shout out here from back in the day, I remember when there are two basic biographies of Gene for those interested. There's Gene Roddenberry, The Myth and the Man Behind Star Trek by Joel Ingle. And there's the official big, thick book, Star Trek Creator by David Alexander. I made the mistake of not getting one of these and getting it signed by David before he passed on suddenly back in the 90s, early aughts. This was kind of the down and dirty, unauthorized biography, Joel Ingle, who sent me a copy, even though I really didn't participate in it, of darker side, not darker side, the grayer sides of Gene, that for a long time, the pendulum had swung away from. And we've had it almost come back to the point where Gene can do no right, as opposed to Gene could do no wrong. The smartest place to be is obviously in the middle. And everything that I do, everything that I'm going to do with this Origins tour as we talk about his live stages is going to reflect that. But again, I'm looking forward to doing that. We need 5 to make in October. By the way, we need 8 to make the Valley of Fire tour. So check that out. If you are interested in 24 hours, I have no infrastructure up for this yet. But for this 24-hour third Tuesday flash deal, if you have already committed to the Valley of Fire tour before Vegas, and here's the thing, if you're not going to be at Vegas, if you are not going to be at Vegas to do the Valley of Fire tour, but you're in LA in middle October to take the Gene Roddenberry Origins tour, his childhood, his family, his careers, and the Desilu Paramount, especially as a base. If you're interested in that and you're not having anything to do with Vegas, let me know in the next 24 hours here in the chat, or reach me at larry@larrynemecek.com. Fancy graphics, none, sorry. And we'll give you $50 off, and that's the 24-hour, okay? That will extend until 3 p.m. Pacific tomorrow, everybody. Okay? Okay. Well, these fine folks, all of our Patreons, our TTL Club, is K. Robin, Wilson, Lawrence, Todd, and Blake Arledge, Justin Porteous, and Nathaniel Robinson. Thank you, folks. And our live wires, Rusty Harrell, Albert Gunn Johnson, Jalen Bullock, Gary Williams, Jared Cooper, Mr. Vestek, Robert McLean, and Casey Shafsky. Hey, everybody, thanks so much for that. I really do appreciate it as we kind of grow this. Now, this week on the other big tickets around here, it's hiatus time. Yep, it's hiatus time for the Trek Files. Perfect time to go back and read 6 seasons, or listen to 6 seasons worth of our shows, 15, 20-minute shorty shows based on a paper out of, Gene's Files. If you're watching on YouTube right now, that's the place. And if you're not, go over there and subscribe anyway, just at Larry Nemecek, same as the Twitter. And Larry Nemecek's Trekland is my Instagram, same as the Facebook where you're watching if you are. Portal47.net is our monthly package all year long for all the Star Trek you had no idea about. Okay, everybody. Hey, listen, it's way overdue to talk about this being Gene's centennial. I don't think that's out there in the zeitgeist. Hopefully, by the time of Vegas Con, some of the fall conventions, we'll be able to hit that a little more, with some impact. Like, so Gene's life put into the DNA, what he thought, why Star Trek is the way it is, why people cared then, why people care now, why other creatives want to pile in and create more Star Trek, why audiences still want to watch more Star Trek, and what's unique about it. It's all part of the discussion. It's all part of the reflection this year. And, looking at where the man came from, the good and the bad, the rough and the smooth, is all a part of that project as well. So thanks, everybody, for being with me here on Tuesday. I hope the stream was decent today. Again, we'll see if the fixes last week helped us out. And that's it, folks. Stay healthy still. Do all the things. There's a chunk of this that we're not out of yet. And I say we, there's a lot of the world that still has a long way to go. And we do still all interact with each other. Please stay woke and check the sources when you're looking at something online that makes your blood boil. Just check out to see if you're even dealing with a real person, okay? Trek well, everybody.